Apple just forced Samsung and LG to cut the price of iPhone screens by about 20%, and your next iPhone is still going to cost you more. That sounds like a contradiction, but it tells you exactly where the real power sits in the phone business right now. Stick with me and I will show you why the display is the one place Apple can push back, and why memory chips are the thing that is quietly wrecking the price of every phone you want to buy. Let me start with the numbers, because they are wild. Korean trade sources reported on July 24th that Apple offered to pay about $70 for each screen on the iPhone 18 Pro Max. Samsung and LG are expected to settle even lower at around $66.50 each. Last year, Apple paid roughly $80 for the same size of panel, and the year before that it paid over $100 under some deals. So the price keeps dropping, and it is dropping fast. Here is the part that makes this strange. Apple is asking for a cheaper price on a better screen. These new panels use Samsung's newest material set called M16, and it is harder to make. Normally, a harder screen costs more, not less. Apple is demanding the tougher screen at a lower price at the same time. That is an aggressive move, and the suppliers are swallowing it. So why can Apple bully the screen makers but not the chip makers? That is the whole story. Let me explain the memory problem first, because everything flows from it. Right now, 3 companies control almost all the memory in the world. Samsung, SK Hynix, and Micron together make more than 95% of it. These companies are taking their factory space and pointing it at AI data centers instead of phones. The memory that AI servers need sells for $60 to $100 a chip. The memory that goes in your phone sells for about $5 to $10. If you ran that factory, you would build the expensive one too. Every wafer they turn into AI. Memory is a wafer that is not making the memory inside your phone. That is why phone memory has become so expensive. The industry has a name for this now. They call it Chipflation. Look at what it did to Apple. Last year, the memory inside the iPhone 17 Pro cost Apple about $39. The same memory for the iPhone 18 Pro is now estimated at up to $145. That is a 272% jump for the exact same chip. Tim Cook told the press this was unsustainable and that he had never seen anything like it in over 40 years. And here is the key point. Apple cannot argue that price down. The memory makers have better customers than Apple, so they simply do not need to give Apple a deal. Apple has no leverage there at all. But screens are a different market. Samsung and LG both make screens, and they compete with each other. There is also a Chinese maker called BOE growing fast behind them. When suppliers compete, the buyer gets power. So Apple squeezes the one place it still can. The display cut is not a sign of Apple's strength. It is a sign of where Apple's strength runs out. The screen makers said all of this out loud at Korea's biggest display show in Seoul this month. Both companies brought their bosses, and both were unusually honest. The head of Samsung Display said this year is extremely difficult because of chipflation, and that very strong pressure is coming in to lower prices. He also admitted that phone makers are building fewer devices to cope with memory costs, which means fewer screen orders too. Even so, Samsung is not pulling back. Its boss confirmed a plan to spend about $46 billion on a brand new screen factory in Korea. He said it was a promise made in front of many people, so they intend to push it forward right away. LG's boss was calmer, saying the pressure is manageable because they keep cutting their own costs, though LG did post a small quarterly loss. Now let me show you what that new M16 screen actually does for you, because it is genuinely good. Every screen makes light with tiny red, green, and blue dots. Red and green have been highly efficient for years. Blue was the weak one. The old blue dots only turned about a quarter of their power into light, so they burned 4 times more energy than they should. That drained your battery. The new M16 material fixes the blue dots so all 3 colors are efficient. The result is a brighter screen that sips less power, lasts longer, and shows more accurate color. For a phone doing heavy AI work, saving battery on the screen actually matters. So Apple is getting a better screen for less money. Great for Apple. Now the question you actually care about. Does any of that saving reach your wallet? Sadly, probably not. The screen cut only fixes a small piece of the cost. One research firm estimated that to keep its usual profit, Apple would need to raise the iPhone 18 Pro price by about $270. That points to a price near $1,300. Some analysts think Apple will hold prices flat and just accept thinner profit to protect sales. Apple has not confirmed anything yet, so treat every price you hear as a guess until the September launch. Here is why the display saving barely counts. The new A20 Pro chip inside the phone may cost up to $280 on its own. Storage is more expensive too. Add it all up, and the parts bill for the top model has grown by about $300 over last year. Against that, saving $13 on a screen is almost nothing. And this is not just an Apple problem. The whole phone market is hurting. Global phone shipments fell nearly 7% in the second quarter of this year, one of the worst drops in over a decade. Memory now makes up more than 60% of the cost of a cheap phone, which is quietly killing the budget phone entirely. One analyst put it perfectly. He said the memory crisis has split the phone market in two. Apple and Samsung locked in their supply early in Seltzer's iPhones, so they are pulling ahead. Meanwhile, Xiaomi, Oppo, and Vivo, who live in the cheaper end, are all sliding backward. So here is your takeaway if you are buying a phone this fall. The iPhone 18 Pro and Pro Max are expected in September, and they will very likely cost more than last year, even if Apple eats part of the increase. The screen deal softens the blow. It does not erase it. And don't expect relief soon, because experts believe this memory shortage could stretch well past the end of the decade. If this made the whole mess make sense, do me a favor and hit like and subscribe, because I break down this stuff every week. That is the real fight here. It was never about one phone screen. It is about who pays for AI's hunger for chips, and right now, that bill is landing on you. Next time, I will show you which phones to actually buy while all this plays out. See you there.